The next Pokemon Go Community Day is going to be September 19th, and the extra special Community Day Pokemon is going to be Oshawott. Oshawott will evolve into Samurott, and when you evolve Samurott, you will get the special move Hydro Cannon. Did anybody see this water starter Pokemon getting Hydro Cannon for its Community Day? Ineffable, right? Well, on top of that, it is getting Razor Shell added to its permanent move pool. Razor Shell can be pretty interesting because it is a defense debuffing move in the main series games, so it could give Samurott a little bit extra flair in the meta. And if that wasn't enough to get you excited, it'll also be a 3x catch Stardust event. So over the 6 hours of Community Day, you'll have 3x catch Stardust. So whether you like Oshawott or not, this is a good opportunity to stock up on Stardust for Season 9 of GBL. Well, without further ado, let's talk about just how good Samurott may be in the Pokemon Go meta. By the way, if you want more information on the Community Day event, you can check out the Community Day resource page on GamePress, link in the description to that. I don't believe the official page for this Community Day is up yet, but once it is up, link in the description as well, if I remember to add it. When it comes to Great League and Ultra League PvP, I feel like Hydro Cannon gives Samurott a much needed bait move for its move pool. Right now, it's stuck with Blizzard, Hydro Pump, and Mega Horn, both of which are very slow charge moves. And even though we do have Fury Cutter to reach these charge moves more quickly than we would with, Waterfall or something else, not having that bait move is kind of a rough deal. So Hydro Cannon will give Samurott that extra speed to work with. And then having Blizzard as a big kind of nuke attack and secondary coverage could work out really well for Samurott. That said, Samurott does face some pretty stiff competition from opposing water-type Pokemon, so I think Samurott will have a tough time standing out. I mean, as far as having that Hydro Cannon spammage going on, we do have Swampert. Swampert's got Mud Shot, same energy gains as the Fury Cutter here, but, Stab on the Mud Shot. Same type attack bonus, so it is going to hit a little bit harder. And then for secondary coverage, Earthquake and Sludge Wave, for the most part, are a little bit more useful than what Blizzard or Mega Horn can be, especially when you consider that Samurott's going to have its whole move pool resisted by the likes of Azumarill and other like Pokemon. So I think Samurott's definitely going to be better now than it was before, but I don't think it's really going to stand out that much unless it gets an even bigger move pool expansion beyond just Razor Shell, because Razor Shell is also a water type attack. So what, are we just going to be spamming water type moves only on Samurott? I don't think that's really going to work out for it for the most part in most metas for GBL here. I think there is more hope in the future for Samurott though. I mean, Empoleon did get Drill Peck added to its move pool later on in the game. Blastoise got Skull Bash, I'm pretty sure, later on in the game as well. So even though we are getting Razor Shell as a new move right now, there is always potential for Samurott to get another cool new attack in the future that could open some extra doors for it. I mean, Skull Bash didn't really do anything for Blastoise, but Empoleon was only very okay until it got Drill Peck. And then after Empoleon got Drill Peck, it became a household name in the Ultra League and a really big threat in the Great League. So something like that could happen in the future for Samurott. But as it stands right now, Samurott's just a very okay Pokemon. Use it if you love it, but there's probably better water type options out there, even with considering Hydro Cannon and Razor Shell. Now then, what about that Razor Shell? Well, Razor Shell does not have a Game Master right now. We do not know what the stats on Razor Shell are, but we do know what Razor Shell is in the main series games, so that can give us, a little bit to work off of here. So here we have Razor Shell's page on Bulbapedia, and if you scroll down you can see the effect in the main series games underneath the video ad here. Razor Shell is an attack that has a 50% chance of lowering the target's defense stat by 1 stage. I feel like if this effect translates as is to Pokemon Go, I don't think it'll be that big of an option for Samurott, because if it's going to have such a weak effect, then it's going to have some decent stats along with it, and I don't think that the stats along with the effect are really going to match up to Hydro Cannon's raw power. I think this move will be underutilized if it's put in as is, specifically on Samurott here. That said, if it does end up being a 100% chance, or if the debuff ends up being greater than 1 stage, then it could end up being a pretty spicy option for Samurott to have on it. I mean, we've seen with Pidgeot, with Feather Dance there, being a 100% chance to debuff your opponent's attack stat by 2 stages, that took Pidgeot from being a McNothing Pokemon that hardly gets any utilization at all outside of the Kanto Cup, and made it a god. So if this debuff effect ends up being greater than what we think it's going to be, then that could be huge for Samurott. And having a mono water type move pool really isn't going to matter that much for it because it's going to be so powerful with this OP Razor Shell. So we're going to have to see what happens when the stats come out for Razor Shell and bolster our analysis then. One thing that's a bit more interesting though than considering Razor Shell for Samurott is a Razor Shell for any other Pokemon that could possibly learn it. Most importantly though, for the slow dudes. The slow dudes are absolutely starved for a low energy cost charge move and, you know, a water type charge move to add to it. If you're sitting back going like Ryan Swag, some of them have Water Pulse. Water Pulse is not a water type charge move. Water Pulse is a burden. Razor Shell, if it was like anything better than Water Pulse, which isn't hard, and had a 50% chance for defense debuff, a little spice sprinkled on, I think the slow dudes would eat that right up. They would absolutely love that to be added to their move pool. So right now, only Samurott's going to get it. Maybe with the Season 9 announcement for GBL, if it could get sprinkled onto the slow dudes, any of them, I think that would be fantastic for them. They absolutely would love that. And I mean, any of these Pokemon could get it too. I just feel like it wouldn't have as profound of an effect for them as it would have for the slow dudes here. Like, any Pokemon could benefit from it if it's decent enough. The slow dudes especially. Another interesting candidate for Razor Shell is Dewott itself. The mid-stage evolution between Oshawott and Samurott. As it stands, in the Great League at least, Dewott actually has a better stat product than Samurott. It's got better stats. And then as far as the move pool goes, even with considering Hydro Cannon, I would argue that Dewott has the better move pool because it has a better secondary charge move with X Scissor. And Aqua Tail is kind of like a baby Hydro Cannon already. So if Razor Shell were to get added to the game, if Dewott felt the love too, I think that would be a pretty big deal for Dewott. Dewott is also kind of a niche Pokemon, only shows up in some limited formats. You know, it's not going to flip the script and become the god of Pokemon Go. But for the times where Dewott is useful, I think Razor Shell probably would have more useful applications than what Aqua Tail does. So I think Dewott would also enjoy this attack. What I'm saying is Niantic, John Hankey, I know I haven't been too nice to you lately. We've had our ups and downs, our tussles here and there. But giving Razor Shell to more Pokemon, that would be pretty stellar. I would appreciate that. Also, forgot I left out Samurott for raids. Here we have mostly Mega Pokemon and Kingler, but if you go to page 2 for water type attackers for raids, you can see with Hydro Cannon we are behind Swampert. So behind Swampert, behind Crawdaunt. When it comes to DPS purely, of course we're behind Kyogre as well. So Hydro Cannon, you know, Samurott, it's not a bad water type attacker for raids. If you like having some variety in your raid pool, Samurott's not bad. It is very okay. But it doesn't really stand out either, so not exactly a great raid attacker. And that's all I gotta say right now for Oshawott Community Day. Once again, September 19th, 11 to 5, normal community day hours. I don't think Samurott's going to be that big of a deal. Samurott's going to enjoy the upgrade, and there will be some niche circumstances where Samurott is useful now in both the Great League and in the Ultra League, but I don't think it's going to end up being much more than a spice pick, and even as a spice pick, I feel like it's still going to be pretty weak compared to more standard options until it gets some sort of future move pool expansion like our friend Empoleon did, and bring it to like a whole new light here. What's more interesting than the Oshawott and Samurott themselves is that Razor Shell. We don't have stats on Razor Shell right now. I think even if it was just a very okay move, it would be a massive upgrade for other Pokemon that can learn it from the main series games. So I hope that this kind of makes up like Muddy Water almost and gets the love spread to other Pokemon, and that it's not confined to just the Oshawott family like Blaziken is for Blaziken. I hope that, you know, Pokemon Go can spread the love with the Razor Shells here. The slow dudes would definitely appreciate it. And then of course there's the 3x Catch Stardust. Can't forget about that. So even if you don't like Oshawott, even if Samurott sucks, it's going to be a good time to get some Stardust stocked up for Season 9 of GBL. At any rate, if you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, you want to see more like it, maybe you want to see my future Razor Shell analysis, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these patron supporters. If you want to support Swagman on Patreon, link in the description. We don't have any stats on Razor Shell yet, but that could be pretty interesting, as it is a defense debuffing